Alright, what is up, y'all? Welcome back to The Raging Atheist. I'm your boy Nakasuchi. Today we're going to have a fun conversation, but bear with me because I don't understand Zoom yet. So we are doing it this way tonight, and then by next time I'm going to have all this crap figured out. We have AR and CK so far. I am willing to let anybody jump in the conversation as long as you're going to contribute to the conversation. We're talking NIFB. We're going to start with, are they real Christians? And then we're just going to go from there. It's going to be a lot of fun. Now, this is the first time I'm ever using Zoom, and I'm totally not doing it the way I want to do it, but I have no choice. So once everybody starts speaking, I'm going to need you guys to let me know you can hear everybody and everybody's fine. But first, I have some shit. So, the last couple streams, it's been a little different. We've rolled out Discord. I've brought in a team of moderators. Some are pagans, some are atheists. Pretty much all of us have the same secular values. They have really helped me roll out this Discord server, and they're going to bring some structure to the Raging Atheist as we progress these conversations into the next level. I am changing as a human being, and we, over the last 2 days, have been in Discord discussing rules for our live chat, discussing how the channel is going to move forward, and now it's time to start sharing it with you guys. Tomorrow I'm going to have a special stream that I highly urge all of you to show up for. Probably going to be a shitstorm because of what I'm going to be announcing tomorrow is going to be major news, but that's for tomorrow. Today we're just going to be talking about live chat rules going forward and what's going to happen in the current present. So, the golden rule is if we have a moderator, and tonight my moderator didn't show, so I am moderating, so I am God. Moderator is God. Whatever happens, whatever that moderator does in live chat, I'm not going to second guess it. I am just a participant. The moderator is God. What he or she says goes. That includes the live chat. If the moderator bans you from my channel, I will not unban you. You're done. Racial slurs. Banned immediately from my channel. Immediately. You come in here speaking racial slurs, you get banned and you're gone. Slurs. You get a timeout warning. Mods are going to be telling you why you're getting timed out or why you're getting a warning. If you can't change your behavior, you're going to get fucking banned. So if Matt Powell comes in here talking the F word against homosexual peoples, or if somebody comes in here slurring this person or that, you're going to get a warning, and a timeout's going to follow immediately. And if you can't change your behavior, well, you're not adding to an open discourse in the chat, you're going to get banned. My moderators are going to be understanding, but their word is going to be law. And I'm going to back them up. Insults. The general rule is no insults. An open discourse doesn't require insults in adult conversations. This is going to be a warning, then a timeout, and then a ban. Now, insults are based upon perspective, so this is going to be a tag-a-mod system. When you're ready to disengage from a conversation, if you feel like somebody is insulting you, outside of generalized insults, which won't be tolerated, we talked about a couple, but you're going to tag a mod, and that mod is going to give that person a chance to end the conversation. As I said, you'll get a warning, a timeout, and then a ban. Talk of illicit substances are going to be based on the conversation, but we're not trying to promote illicit substances. We're not trying to promote that anybody should do illicit substances. Those kinds of conversations in the chat can lead to ramifications on my channel. So be wary of that. And if a mod decides to time you out, I would cease and desist with any of those conversations. But the biggest news is this. As I said, I brought in a team of moderators. I'm looking in my live chat right now and I see a sea of blue. We are going to be starting over from scratch. I'm going to be taking every single person's wrench away. I have a list of people that will keep wrenches. And my moderator crew from Discord is going to be the core. And this is to, try to bring us to the next level, have a moderated discussion. And we don't have so many moderators pretty much doing whatever they want to do. I think this is going to be very good for the discourse in the live chat. And as I said, this isn't even really the big news. The big news is coming tomorrow. But we're done with that shit for now. I'm going to be saying that pretty much every live stream going forward until we hammer it down. Now, if you have any issues with moderators, I will always back up my moderators while the show's going on. But if you have a legitimate issue, my Discord is going to be open to everybody. Feel free to come into Discord and we'll talk about the issue. So, things are going to be changing. But like I said, I am not even announcing the biggest change yet. That will come tomorrow in a special live stream whenever the fuck I wake up. But without further ado, I'm going to welcome my two guests. Now, the way I got it right now isn't the best. I got it in gallery view. I haven't figured out really how to individualize their windows. Like I said, I've been really busy today. I've been trying to figure this crap out. We're going to get there, but I'm going to let both of them introduce themselves. So far, we have CK and AR. If you would like to come up in this conversation, highlight me. I'm going to be trying to moderate and look at the chat, and I'll try to bring you into the conversation. It is a Zoom call, so you'll have to, if you don't have Zoom, it's an easy download. But what's up, CK? We'll let you go first, and then we'll let Atheist Rationale come in after you. What's up, man? Well, I hear them, but they're saying the chat can't hear them, and that is an issue. So let me see something. Just 1 second. Well, no, it might be on my end. So I'm gonna check something. So bear with us. This is a new thing. I'm really tried all day to get this shit going. So let me see what I'm looking for. All right.
Apparently my audio is coming in, but it's very low. What you might have to do is desktop audio and turn it up.
How do I do that?
Go into OBS and then you'll see like the decibels.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, you're right. All right, so I bet that's what I got to do. All right, so let's see. All right.
Have like the bars going towards like yellow, but never like red.
Tell me now, chat. How can you hear them now? AR is low.
Testing, testicles, testing.
Check 1 2, check 1 2, 1 2, check 1 2.
All right, let me know, chat. Can you hear them?
Can you hear us? Speak now or forever hold that cheek.
Really, still low, really quiet. So,
Can you at least hear CK? Coming in better?
no.
Can you hear me? Check 1 2, 1 2.
Still low. No reason for it. I don't understand why.
How about now, guys?
My gain's probably too high.
All right, let me know now. Can you hear him now?
Yo. Who has music? There's no music going. I don't think, anyway.
Yeah, I don't have any music going.
I don't have music.
All right, they're saying down to good now. Good now. Yes. There you go. All right, so we're good now. All right, start over, CK. We're good now. Yeah, I had my speakers muted for my desktop.
Oh, that makes sense. All right, take 2. So, greetings, comrades. So I'm CK Blackwood. I'm a 26-year-old Orlandoan from Orlando, Florida. I've been an atheist activist since I want to say about early to mid 2012, and I've sort of taken on the moniker at this point of atheist preacher or atheist pastor. And I'm a musician. I've been an atheist since I was 17, but I decided I wanted to do something about it, to fight the good fight around the time when I was about 19. So, pleasure to make your acquaintance, and can't wait to get into this.
Yeah, I'm excited too. All right, so AR, speak loud and clear, and hopefully they can hear you too.
Yeah, they said they could hear me in the chat. By the way, thanks again for having me on your channel. I think I've came on to like every single one of like your new
I
since
think
you've changed
I
the
think
format up a
you
little.
and John are my most consistent guests. I'm gonna have to like have
like I'm
a
on here more
place
than
of
my own
honor on my channel for you guys. So
So
Yeah, I said that in the beginning. Thank you so much for having me again.
oh yeah, no problem, man. I enjoy having and hopefully this is gonna expand. My goal is to get more worldviews in. So CK, maybe one day you'll come in here and we'll have a dumpster fire with a Christian together.
Oh, I can't wait for that. You and I would be perfect for that.
anyways,
Go ahead,
back
AR.
to introductions. A lot of you guys probably already know me, but if you don't, I'm the Atheist Rationale. I'm actually pretty happy that we're talking about the New Independent Fundamental Baptist, because some people would call me an expert in this field right here. I've done a lot of research on Steven Anderson specifically, and I know quite a bit about the history of the new IFB. I helped Surus make most of his videos that he's done against the new IFB. I helped Mr. Atheist, Telltale, and Holy Kool-Aid with all their videos. And they kind of call me like their archivist. It's pretty nice to do a lot of the grunt work, but it's pretty fun. And I do some stuff on my channel occasionally. I haven't streamed in a couple of weeks, but it should be happening. Going through some personal stuff, but it doesn't matter. What I do is I usually like to call out hate that comes out of religious fundamentalism. I'm starting to move into the far right, which should be a lot of fun because there's a lot of trash coming out of that section of YouTube. We like to call them reactionaries. You probably know what they are. And we also goof on some cringe that'll pop up once in a while. One of my favorite people to talk about is Jonathan Cragen. He's an ex-New Independent Fundamental Baptist member, and I'll probably be talking about him in this stream as we dig in a little bit deeper. So yeah, let's get this show on the road.
Yeah, and AR has been fundamental in my knowledge of the NIFB. I've said that many times, and if you don't know, yeah, he literally is working behind the scenes with some of the biggest YouTubers in the industry right now, and it's basically because of him that we've done what we've done. And to watch the community galvanize the way it has over this, despite splits outside of it and drama outside of it, you still see the pumpkins all over Twitter. You know, you still see the support. The Make America Straight Again conference has been. That's me. If you guys heard the train, that's Battle Creek, Michigan. You know, we still have that support. We still have the pumpkins. CK, you was there on the front lines with Holy Kool-Aid and protesting them for that conference. We're still doing it. You know, I haven't done them as much as I should have been, probably because I've been rolling out a bunch of new stuff, coming up with different concepts for the channel. But this is the fight. So the NIFB is the fight right now. It doesn't matter about drama. It doesn't matter about anything. And we're going to start. And man, that train is really loud in my ears.
Coming in quietly on my end, I'll tell you that.
Right, so as long as you guys don't hear it.
Background ambiance.
So yeah, if you guys don't hear it, it's all good. But if you don't know Battle Creek is still stuck in like 1963, and we have a train come right through downtown. It's so annoying. But okay, so the NIFB is the fight, and we're gonna start with a simple question, and we're just gonna roll. And as I said, if you want to come into the conversation, highlight the Raging Atheist many times until I see it, and I'll get you in here. But right now we got 3 people I think that are fairly well educated on the NIFB to have a decent hate fest on some haters. So the starting question, and I'm going to let you guys take your time in answering. We'll start with CK and we'll go to AR. And then when I get back and I close my door and I fill my drink, and I'll go last and give my answer. The question is, are the NIFB real Christians?
Okay. So I guess first and foremost, people must know, being that, in my view, the general public, particularly in the United States of America, and maybe even, well, actually probably all over, the general public has a very generalized, misinformed view of what Christianity is, what Jesus was, right? A person who is a real Christian, I'm hesitating to use the term true Christian. A real Christian is going to wind up in one of three categories, okay? Either they're going to be in prison, a mental institution, or dead. Because if you actually follow the scriptures 100%, I mean, I don't know how much you know of what's actually in those 66 books in one. It's some nasty stuff. So I think that I'm going to say no, but only because they are in a civilized society. Nobody who is truly religious can function in a civilized society. So, but in a sense, I will say that they are simply, they're following the bits of scripture that most people do not like. So it's a no 99%, we'll say, from me.
Honestly, if we're talking real Christians, one of the things I don't like to do is appeal to the no true Scotsman fallacy. I believe anybody that follows Jesus Christ is a Christian, and that means basically any of the 40,000 denominations out there are all real Christians. Even the individualized ones, like people like the Messenger Reveals, who considers himself the prophet of his own religion, he still follows Jesus Christ, so therefore he's a Christian. This one guy, even though he follows the Gnostic Gospels and not like the Holy Bible specifically, or rather only the Holy Bible, I would consider him a Christian. And these new IFB guys, even though they are extremely fundamental, extremely hateful, and advocate for the systemic genocide of LGBTQ people, they are definitely real Christians. I realize in the modern day, Christianity has evolved to be a lot more progressive. I know in the South that's not so true, but in California, you'll find a lot of churches that actually like accept LGBTQ people. And I kind of like the fact that religion does that. The fact that it has the propensity to change, and you'll even notice like with more modern versions of the Bible, it's changed with the times as well, and seems to be less vitriolic than it used to be in the past. And yeah, that's basically my take on it. They are real Christians. Anybody that follows Jesus Christ is a Christian, and yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I think I didn't hear CK, so I'm not gonna lie, but I think that both were probably great answers. So here's the reason why I chose this question to start the night. And it's because every interaction I have had with any NIFB members has pointed out to other Christians and pointed at them saying that they're not real Christians. So it made me ask myself, what is a real Christian? And to me, I think AR nailed it on the head. If you believe in Jesus Christ, that makes you a Christian, technically speaking. But what's a real Christian? Is a real Christian a Christian that takes the Bible literally, or is a real Christian a person that, how can I word this? A person that uses their humanity to make their religion better. Right, so maybe that Bible is what a Bible actually is. So like if you ever study like soap operas or TV shows, most TV shows have a Bible. Now the Bible is a starting point. It's a reference. That's all it is. So as a true Christian, able to recognize the starting point as a reference, Or is a true Christian a biblical literalist, which the NIFB claim to be, and allows them to point the fingers at every other denomination that doesn't call for the genocide of homosexuality, and point the finger and say they're not real Christians. So that's why I wanted to go last, because I wanted to get both of your answers first, and then say, hey, this is why I'm asking this specific question, is because they are the ones that continue to point the finger at every single denomination, especially Catholicism. All you got to do is watch any of my Matt Powell videos, any of our conversations, and they hate Catholics. So what makes a Christian a Christian? Is it biblical fundamentalism? Is it biblical taking the Bible literally? Or is it being compassionate and a human and being able to rationalize old archaic texts to a modern time to where you can be accepting of human beings? Because I hope that that's the future of Christianity.
I'd honestly say like all of the above. Like I said, it's pretty cut and dry. As long as you follow Jesus Christ, you're a Christian. Whether or not you pick and choose from the Bible, whether or not you take it from a very literal perspective, and whether or not you allow it to conform to the society that's surrounding it, it really doesn't matter as long as you have that one single qualifier.
And there is scripture for that. Or can you, first of all, can you hear me, Naka? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Like I just had my headphones off and was doing stuff when you was answering.
Oh, okay, gotcha. All right. And there is certainly, Bible for that, that you believe on the Lord Jesus Christ and you shall be saved. But it's a big no on the, if you're a true Christian, if you're compassionate. Again, I just have to keep harping on this like the broken record I am, that people, if you are a compassionate person, if you are a civilized person, in my book, no pun intended, you are not a Christian, because there is not an ounce of Bible for that. The Bible says that, you have to follow Jesus, which, I mean, that's where, obviously, in a sense, I would agree with AR. But it also says many other things, right? That you have to discriminate based on race, sexual orientation. You have to discriminate against women, even children. So there's a lot that goes into it. So I would say my position is just that a person who follows the Bible to a T from cover to cover would be a Christian. Now, AR brought up the no true Scotsman fallacy, and I've certainly obviously thought about that before when I've come up with my position on this issue, not just the New Independent Fundamentalists, but what makes a true Christian. And the only reason why I don't think it necessarily applies the no true Scotsman fallacy is that this is something far different than, maybe I'm seeing it too simply, but this is something far different than just, you're from this area, this part of the world. This is about following a belief system, but maybe I'm wrong.
No, I think, all right, so I think I actually agree with you, CK, and not AR here. So, yeah, I think anybody can call themselves a Christian. But what did Christ want his followers to do? And from my readings of the Bible, he wanted them to follow the old law, and beyond that, he wanted them to be able to do the miracles he could do. So in my opinion, there's not a true Christian on this country. Nobody can do the crazy, miraculous shit that Jesus Christ did. All there is a bunch of humans trying to follow along with a story that was never had any truth to it at all. That's my opinion. I'm a mythicist, and I will stand by that. And I don't have the historical shit that maybe Godless Engineer and Richard Carrier that they have. I just look at this story and I call bullshit. So I just can't. To me, that if you go by what the Bible says, and I know Christians apologize for the passages all the time, but you be able to do whatever the fuck Jesus did, and that would make you a true Christian because you had that faith in God like Jesus did. Nobody fucking does. And I'm pretty much anti-Abrahamics at this point. Like I'm being very accepting of other religions, and I'm trying to give liberal Christians a chance to come in and talk. But in my opinion, definitely this is the the NIFB is one of the closest versions to true Christianity that I've seen, because they actually try to follow what the stupid ass Bible says.
And the Christians of today, they love to quote that part about, Jesus said, I come not to abolish the law, but to fulfill it. They use that verse to mean just that he did come to abolish the old law. And another thing, the New Testament, people want to act like the Old Testament is so terrible, which it is. It certainly is. But the New Testament is worse, friends. And please do not take my word for it. Don't take anybody's word for it. Read it for yourself and you will see. You'll be surprised. I promise you.
Oh yeah, the Old Testament is atrocious. But go ahead, AR, because I think you're going to be the opposite tonight. And again, I asked Frustrated if he wanted to come in, and I totally missed it if he answered. Frustrated Atheist, you'd be a great person in on this conversation. But don't know if you're busy, dog. Yeah, but I'm just saying it's open.
In a while, that'd be really cool if he came in here.
Yeah, it's been a while since Russ has been on, man, and I miss talking to the guy. He's one of my favorite people.
Well, again, I'll agree with you that like the new IFB, at least in my experience, is one of the few denominations or cults rather that follow the Bible from a more literal perspective than a lot of other Christians. I would say even Ken Ham. I still can't appeal to that no true Scotsman fallacy. Like if the only qualifier is you have to follow Jesus Christ and the teachings or whatever, even if you're picking and choosing the ones that like appeal more to your sense of morality, then that's it. You said that you're a mythicist, which would mean that you don't believe Jesus ever existed, right?
I think it's all bullshit.
Yeah.
I don't think a dude ever existed. I mean, and all the stories that so now they have stories from his childhood, right? So like
and I believe that's in some of the Gnostic Gospels.
Yeah, I mean, it's just crazy. Hell no, I don't believe in that shit, because I don't think that human being, maybe I'm not going to sit here and say that I don't think that some human beings can't manipulate some shit. I just don't think that a human being can raise people from the dead. I definitely don't think a human being can walk on water, and I definitely think that if a human being is turning water into wine, well, I'd probably like that dude.
Yeah, I know from the mythicist perspective, there is a lot of backing to it, but there's also experts out there, and I'm talking about secular experts, not just Christians that say he existed. There's scholars out there that'll say like he probably existed as a person, but it's very likely that he was mythicized after that. Like they added the miracles, all that kind of stuff. And whether or not he existed shouldn't really matter, because he exists as a symbolic figure in this specific religion, right? And they're still, whether or not he's real, they still follow this symbolic figure. And again, if they're following it the way they're following the Bible, they'd still be Christians. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that there might be an
excellent point. I have to say though, as a rebuttal, I didn't even know that was the term for it. What was it, mysticist or mythicist?
Yeah.
Okay. I actually am one too. When you've got to think about how there was only one outside of the Bible historian who lived even remotely close to that time period.
I'm with you guys. I don't believe like Jesus really existed.
Okay, yeah, no. Well, I mean, I'm preaching to the choir then. No pun intended. There was a Greek. I forget if he was Judeo-Roman or Greco-Roman. His name was Josephus. He's the only one who lived even remotely close to that time period, who said there was a man. All he wrote was that there was a man who was called the Messiah. Mm-hmm. That's the only historical evidence that Jesus was an historical personage. And you have the Persian god Mithra, the Egyptian god Horus. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Some scholars would actually even say that this Messiah character, or at least the one depicted in the Bible, was several different Messiah characters amalgamated into one entity.
And I love it. I apologize. I didn't mean to get us off topic. I went into my mythicism shit. But like, continue to talk. We'll get back on track as soon as this conversation gets to it.
I just had to put that out. Yeah, I'm just sorry. I had to give my spiel on that.
Yeah, I didn't mean to get us off topic, but you know me, like I'm a mythicist. Like I'm trying to open myself up and be more accepting, especially um, uh, if we share the same value. If you're a Christian and you share the same values with me, I will accept you. If you're a Christian and you're decent human beings and we might not share the same values, I will let you in here and I will be respectful to you. But if you're a Christian and your values is biblical literalism, I'm probably not going to be very respectful to you because I find you to be an atrocious human being that lives in the past 2,000 years ago. You know, that's where I stand. Like the issue of Jesus isn't even really real to me. What the issue is how these I almost said a word I'm trying not to say anymore. How these fuckers are using this being to do harm. That's what I'm interested in.
Yeah, that's a problem. One thing I want to like say though is that like when it comes to these like more progressive Christians, especially the ones that are more accepting of LGBTQ plus people, I'm not gonna like be rude to them and say like, no, you're not a real Christian because you don't hate gay people. That just doesn't sound right to me.
Yeah, well, and I agree there. But you know, the question, you know, not to be disrespectful to them is, are they right or are they wrong? And in modern context, I'd say they're right, definitely, 100%. According to the Bible, though, no, they're not. Did we lose
Something
CK?
I want to bring up.
Did we lose
Something
CK?
I want to bring. Something I want to bring
Oh,
up
there it
is I don't know if this is the same. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
we
you're
can hear
there.
All right.
Shit.
Something I want to bring up. I'm not sure if this will if this is on you know, if this is relevant to this conversation, but something I've actually been noticing a lot lately, and it does bother me, is that Christian churches, and I'll tell you, you know, you're going to think I'm an asshole for oh, sorry for cursing. You're going to think I'm a bad guy for this bothering me, but hear me out. Christian churches are aligning with even American atheists.
Sweet.
All these organizations who are fighting discrimination based on faith. And it bothers me because inherent in religion is this: we're trying to get you to conform to our beliefs, believe what we believe, and follow our system. So, I mean, do we think that's relevant to the conversation? I mean, what are your guys' thoughts on that? The fact that this it's a good thing that this discrimination is being fought, but what are their motives? What are the Christian church's motives in joining the fight with American atheists and many other organizations?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's something that I've thought about. Because you would think that we are the bigger enemy than even the LGBTQ. You know, they're just abominations. We're like Satan's spawn. You know.
Well, I mean, atheists are just, according to the Bible. You know, I hate to keep quoting it, but the atheists are just fools. We're just the fool. Homosexuals are the scripture clearly lays out. Again, sorry, folks. The scripture clearly lays out that homosexuals are walking abominations. They're to be put to death. Their blood will be upon them just for being themselves. So, but I mean, you know, of course, atheists are very demonized. We are probably we've been made to be second class citizens. So much so, you know.
Yeah, and AR, jump in. I'm trying to send a link to Russ, and I sent a link to Richard Madsen. So
I was just gonna say,
he's here.
what exactly are like those Christian organizations like? What are they tag teaming the ACA over?
Oh well, I mean, I forget. I think they're just local churches that have I forget the exact organizations, but they have teamed up with American atheists and
Okay, American Atheists. I got them mixed up with the ACA.
Yeah, no, not ACA, American Atheists, believe it or not. Let me see here.
What I wanted to talk about is like it might be very difficult to assign motive without like concrete proof of what that motive can be.
True.
I mean, they could just be a progressive organization that's trying to like, you know, fight some injustice.
well,
And I think
and there are
we should be able to like, you know,
there
team
are a lot of
just
really.
use your language
Oh,
with,
I'm
like,
sorry. Go
people
ahead,
with
AR.
different beliefs in order to fight like certain things. I mean, like, there's nothing wrong with like coexisting or teaming up to fight against a common enemy, right?
Well, and there are
Well,
some
but the
Christians.
enemy of my enemy is not the enemy of my enemy is not always my friend. I mean, at least for me.
Some Christians are really asking tough questions when it comes to the question of homosexuality, and they are going really deep back into ancient text. You know, I know Dr. Josh has a really good he has a really good analysis of what you know what was meant and how people have misinterpreted. And he also says, yeah, clearly the Bible is against homosexuals, but he has a much better interpretation than most people, I think. And you know, Dr. Josh, everyone knows he's agnostic and just a wonderful human being. But some Christians, like, you know, this Christian vlogger is going to be here in 5 days. He's one of the biggest Christian YouTubers there is on YouTube. And he's been asking these hard questions, you know, and he's been speaking to gay Christians and just trying to have the conversation of where should Christianity be in the modern age. And he's right to ask these questions, and he's right where it should be. The NIFB are completely wrong, and this is why we fight against the NIFB. So, I mean, honestly, Christianity has to continue to progress, and they've done it a lot better than Islam. And you know, I need to turn Facebook off, but they're doing it a lot better than Islam. But they have to continue to progress because they have a long way to fucking go.
That's another thing. Like, Islam actually has like thousands of denominations as well, and a lot of the people that come over here to the States actually don't belong to the same denomination that like reigns over places like Saudi Arabia. A lot of them you'll find that are actually accepting of like LGBTQ plus individuals, don't want.
Well,
you know,
I do think a large chunk of Muslims that come here for our secular society to escape the barbarism of what they're leaving behind. There are a certain segment of fundamentals that you're going to get that are going to come in. But I think ideally, you know, most of the ones coming in here are coming here for secularism, and you know, I've met a lot of Muslims that seem to be fairly moderate, just like AR is saying.
Secularism like benefits any person under its like system, basically, including like
That's very true.
Like the freedom of religion, which also translates to freedom from religion, is very powerful and something we should stand up for. Just as long as, you know, they're not out there advocating for like, you know, systemic genocide of LGBTQ plus people like the New Independent Fundamental Baptists.
Or advocating against atheism, discriminating against their children if they decide not to follow the same God as them. You know, there's a long way for Christianity to go.
It's
like in general.
It's a great thing about America, but you know, I think I've raised this question in discussions with you guys before, and many other times. You know, the preamble to the preamble of the Constitution, the First Amendment, is that Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. And I've heard stories. Again, I wish I had pulled up some links here before this discussion got started. But I've heard stories certainly of people being able to abuse their children and many other things. And again, also making us atheists into second-class citizens simply because they can hide behind that magic word, religion. And we need to question whether that's actually a good thing.
Oh no, and you're 100% right. I'd agree with you there. Like, it's happened. Just look at like the cake bakers, you know, discriminating.
Against, that happens. Great point. Richard's here now, and Russ, frustrated. I sent you an invite to the Zoom meeting on Twitter. But hey, Richard, what's up, man? You want to join the conversation?
Love to. Peace and respect to you all. I want you all to know that I love you very much.
Can y'all not hear me?
You, the
there you are. There you are, Russ.
It's good to see you. Oh, there's Russ. How you doing,
really
frustrated?
Oh, I do what?
You're really quiet.
Oh, I've been silent this entire time.
Yeah.
I mean, like, even when you're talking, you're quiet.
Oh, it could be the headphones I'm using. I don't know.
It's not too bad. Like, I didn't see him because his video wasn't on, so I just didn't think he came yet. But what's up, Russ? Richard, we're not alone now.
Hey, I want to address, if it's okay, I'd like to address something that Cameron said, and and I'd like to address it out of love and acceptance of LGBTQ plus plus. I can't remember all the initials. I'm sorry, I'm not very practiced at that.
You could either start at L, stop at T or Q, and just add the plus, and that includes everybody. Or you just use GRSM.
Yeah, GRSM is a lot easier, Richard.
Okay, I'll start using that.
Without saying it, because it's a very long acronym if you add all the letters.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you. Cameron said that it was plain that in the Bible it reads, and I know this is slightly off topic, and I really want to get back to the NIFB, but I think this is an important point for people who are persecuting others and people who are feeling persecuted. Well, because they are persecuted. That in a plain reading, it's obvious to see that the Bible condemns to death homosexuality. Okay, and that's a fair assessment of normal Christian doctrine. Traditionally, I absolutely agree with you. That's what they say the Bible says. But I would like to point out that the word homosexual, for instance, and it's only a for instance, the word homosexual is a medical term or a scientific term. And that came out, does anyone know the year? Something like 1830 something, I think. I'm not great at numbers, but something like that. And before that, we didn't have an official term in the English language. But if we go back to the ancient Near East where the Bible originates, you'll find the word eunuch. That is a castrated male. You know, a wink, wink, a man who's not a man. If you get that.
No, that's
go ahead.
I mean, that's just like the word man wasn't introduced into the Middle Ages. I mean, you have to go with what language we're talking about here. And
yeah, I am.
And this language, of course, there may not have been at that point in time. Homosexual may not have been a term that
Right.
was actually used, but modern
correct.
translations of the Bible know that, okay, back then this meant homosexual, so we're just going to put in homosexual.
Right, I get that, except they skipped it.
I also want to point out that like eunuchs you were trying to say that they were trans people, correct?
No,
That's what you meant by
No.
wink, wink, not a man.
No.
No.
I mean,
not
like,
not.
so.
Hey, frustrated. I can speak for myself. I can tell him what I
Yeah,
mean.
go ahead. I'm gonna step away. I'll be
Well-
right back.
Well, what I was trying
I
to
want
say
to know what
was
you
that
meant by wink, wink, not a man.
Well, I'm about to explain. If I could just finish the little thing. I'm not going to soak up a lot of time, I promise. So in Matthew 19:10 through 12, and I've never had a homosexual disagree with me on this point. The 12 apostles ask of Christ, if a man is like a woman, I think that's pretty clear what they meant. If a man is like a woman, is it good that he should marry? That would mean marry in the traditional sense, like marry a woman, even though he's not a manly man. Okay. And is it good that he should marry? But instead, Christ doesn't answer that question. He said, what's that?
I mean, if they want to, why not?
Well, but you understand what the question is, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So he doesn't answer it. He says, this saying is not for all, but only for those who would receive it. He said, some eunuchs are born of the womb. Guys, that's not true of a traditional eunuch. That's a castrated male somewhere around age 8. Okay. He says, some are born of the womb. Some are made eunuchs by other eunuchs. Also not true of eunuchs. That requires surgery. Eunuchs didn't do surgery normally. They had physicians back then too. And he said, others yet choose to be eunuchs. And I've never had a homosexual argue with me that it's one of those three. So I think the topics are covered. And I think it's obvious what's being said there. And the last line of the quote is, but if one can receive the good news, that means if one can receive, let them. So if people are going to quote Christ as saying, I don't know, whatever they want to say, he said. Anyway, he says that either he's teasing them with the good news or they go to heaven. I mean, it's got to be one of those two is what's being said there.
I don't know that I'm sure. I don't know that I'm sure what your point is here, Mr. Madsen.
Yes, thank you. The prosecution by normal Christians in doctrinal view of the text requires because of their belief about the text, that requires that they prosecute homosexuals. However, the text covers both sides of it. It calls it an abomination, but at the same time, it doesn't mean they can't go to heaven.
Well, I don't think there's a however there.
They have to be put to death.
Wait,
that's
not
really
however. You guys talking over each other.
Yeah, you guys are talking over each other. Let's CK go, and then AR, you can go.
Okay.
Oh, he probably has a better point than I did. I was just saying there's no however. You know, that's of no comfort to the probably billions, maybe even more, people who are in the LGBTQIA plus community.
I'm suggesting that Christians stop prosecuting them based on the Bible. It's just not true.
Right. Well, I mean, and we agreed there, but I mean, that's to say that, you know, to try and use other verses, that's of no comfort to the people who have been destroyed, had their lives destroyed, their families destroyed because of that book.
You're right. It doesn't fix anything. You're right.
Yeah, that would have been my point, but I'm going to let AR go first, and then I'll respond.
Well, before AR goes.
Well, and damn it, Russ, I never see you on my screen. So, and
Sorry.
AR, Russ, you go, and then AR.
I have something that is real quick. It's not, and he can go. All I was going to say was that the Bible is good at being very, very self-contradicting anyway. I mean, it'll say, in one passage it'll say this, and in another passage it says this, which is where you get a lot of confusion with people. So just go ahead, AR.
Look at the story of Cain for figure that one out right away.
Right.
But anyways, yeah, Richard, there's a couple of things I wanted to jump on the things that you said. First of all, feminine men are still men if they identify as such.
Well, I will have to go to Richard's defense there. Whenever he said his whole entire wink wink not a man thing, he was meaning even
if they're eunuchs, if they still identify as a man, they're still a man, right?
No. In this term, what he's saying is that eunuchs were to describe pretty much homosexuals. And we've had this type of linguistic thing going on throughout centuries. I mean, hell, Yankee Doodle
back in the day that homosexual men cut their junk.
Well, AR, this has been a long discussion.
Let me get this out. So in linguistics, we always had these sort of different terms for homosexuals. In the song Yankee Doodle, it helps present that in the 1700s. When you called someone a dandy, it was really a very, very effeminate man, which was to determine that this man was possibly a homosexual. And so and then we have all these terms from even the 19th century where someone was a confirmed bachelor, and that's pretty much what eunuch is in this type of setting, is that it's just a gay man, but because homosexual or gay wasn't a term during this time frame, the word that was close to it would have been eunuch.
All right. One thing I have to clarify though is homosexual people have existed since
of course,
ever.
The dawn of man, forever, basically.
No,
Yeah.
I never said anything like
as well. There's thousands upon thousands of species that exhibit homosexual behavior.
There are 384 mammals alone, species of mammals alone that practice homosexual behavior. Whether it's population control, you could argue whatever it is.
Native American societies, most
penguins will adopt penguin babies and raise them as their own. It's actually kind of beautiful in a way.
Oh, it is beautiful. Absolutely.
Most Native American tribes, not all, but most, accepted homosexual and trans people as human beings. They allowed them to have the role they wanted. Men that wanted to be women wore women's clothing. They stayed in camp with the women. They did what the women did. Women that wanted to be warriors had their chance to become warriors just like everybody else. They were very accepting, and this was an accepted practice right up until the European man came, taught them Christianity, and told them how to hate gay people. Now they do.
Mhm.
Very sad.
The other thing I want to say though is, if the Bible says to kill homosexuals, it's wrong no matter what, and there's no way to really justify that.
Actually, Tar, you're wrong. There is a way to. Okay, look. Context and etymology of the words is extremely important.
It doesn't matter what the context or the etymology of the words. If you're saying that homosexual people need to die, then you're wrong. 100%.
You're brilliant. You're brilliant, and I appreciate you. But you're looking at this as a Christian, whether you like it or not. Okay, and you've been taught by Christians, and that's the way you're looking at it, and that's just simply not what it says.
Just a little while ago that there's like two sides to the coin. Yeah, sure, we shouldn't prosecute it today, but the Bible says that, right?
That's not what I said. No, that's what you heard me say. It's not what I said.
If I heard you say that, then like you did say that.
It's not. It's not what I said. But, dude, you're brilliant. I appreciate you. I really do. But that's just not what I said.
AR, what Richard was basically putting out there is an old conversation. So people have argued, and it could very well be true that the Bible is specifically speaking of eunuchs when it's speaking of homosexual people, and people have misinterpreted it. That is an argument that's been going on for a long time, and we also have to understand that while we are now much more of an accepting society, 2,000 years ago, they weren't. And gender roles were not accepted. And if you were a man, you were supposed to be a man in Israel at the time. And we have to understand that they did not live by our code of ethics.
Yeah. That I can understand.
Hey, I'm sorry. We should go back to the NIFB. That's what you guys were really talking about. I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, yeah, we're talking about the NIFB just because there's shit and I have CK on. But, like the conversation's rolling. I have no moderator. So, damn it, we rolling.
It's going to be like one of the few unmoderated conversations that'll be on this channel.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to Ujita. This was Ujita's premiere as moderator. He didn't show. I'm not sure. I'm sure something came up. I'm sure Ujita would not have been here unless something came up. So, yeah, we're here and we're doing it.
So, sorry for like directing the conversation. No, it's not my channel or anything. We still haven't gotten Richard or Frustrated's perspective on whether or not the NIFB are real Christians, and that might be valuable to the conversation.
And it could
then maybe after that we could.
Good job, AR. That would probably take us back to the topic.
I wish I could get the chance to talk to is it Steven Anderson? And the people at that level that are leading that church. I really wish I could have a conversation with them and I could I don't know, tie them down to a chair and drug them with something so they didn't like keep their cognitive dissonance that allows them to think these things are true.
The truth serum that the Russians gave
something.
It's in what's it called?
True Lies.
True Lies works. That's not the TV show I was talking about. I was talking about Stranger.
I thought you were about Schwarzenegger. Oh, okay, I see what you're saying.
Stranger Things.
I guarantee you 99.9% of the people here wish they...
Season 3 spoilers. Sorry, guys.
I'm just saying, like, most of us wish that we could have Steven Anderson tied down to a chair. But go ahead, frustrated atheist. I did not mean to overtalk you.
For starters, I will have to say, AR, I got the reference. The Stranger Things thing was funny because I, for the longest time, refused to watch it because me and my wife were supposed to sit down and watch it together. And it turned out that our internet at the time was really, really shitty. So I couldn't watch it with her at the time. And so she watched the episode. And I was like, no, you watched it without me. I don't want anything to do with this show. And then probably it was last week, I was at work and I was like, you know what? I've got time. And I just binge watched all 3 seasons. And I was like, oh my God, I loved it. There's a bit of science that I have an issue with, but it's not enough to get me to disengaged from the entire show.
Oh yeah, I hear you. You can't take science fiction like too literally. They always fudge a little
Yeah.
something. I
Yeah.
think I cut you off, Richard, and I apologize if you still want to like continue.
I've always found you to be purposefully polite. Thank you. Yeah, the NIFB, are they true Christians? Well, technically, yeah, they are. I mean, they profess Christ. That makes them technically a Christian. Are they good at it? Are they loving? Are they forgiving? Are they wholesome? Are they trying to follow the example of Jesus? You know, not so much.
What interpretation of Jesus are they not following? Because
the example of Jesus. That's a good one.
You know, because well, for one, you can interpret gospel Jesus to be rather hippie-like if you interpret it that way. You could also interpret gospel Jesus to be a douchebag prick that thought really, really fucking high of himself. But you can not interpret Revelations Jesus in any other way besides I'm going to commit genocide on the entire fucking world except for the select few that suck my dick pretty good enough.
This is the point.
That's relatively valid, yeah.
This is the point. This is the point I was trying to make earlier. Is just people just do not know. You want to go with Revelation. Jesus appears on the white horse with many crowns, with fire coming out of his eyes and a sword coming out of his mouth, and he's going to execute judgment, rain down fire and brimstone from heaven. Nobody has any idea what Jesus was. Not a hippie. He was not loving. He was not tolerant. He was believe in me, or you're going to burn in a lake of fire. That's the whole message of Christianity.
Well, the thing is you don't even have to go to Revelations to see that. You don't even have to go to Revelations to do that. All you gotta do is look at him whenever he goes into the tabernacle and flips tables and starts beating people with a whip.
Exactly.
Yeah, dude. What do we call that type of person now? We call him Matt Powell.
Sociopath. Yeah. People just have this completely wrong view of what Jesus was. Well, I mean, what he wasn't.
The thing is in Scripture, does he tell people to be peaceful and respectful? Yes. Does he tell people to do all these pleasant, kind things? Yes. But you cannot ever disengage the fact that while he was saying these things, he was also practicing something else and telling his specific followers to do the same thing he was doing.
Exactly. Jesus says many times, he says, I come not with peace, but with a sword, to set man against man, house against house. And if any man hate not his father and his mother and his wife and his children and sisters and brothers, and yea, his own life also, he cannot be my disciple.
Yeah, I did a really good video that hardly anybody ever watched. It's called The Evolution of Jesus. I thought it was funny. It starts with brown Jesus, and it goes all the way to hippie Jesus and NIFB Jesus. It was hilarious. Nobody fucking watched it, but it was true.
I'll give you one more quote. If you believe not that I am he, you will die in your sins. And where I go, you cannot come. That's also Jesus talking. So keep that in mind.
Yes. Cameron, I'd like for you to pick the one that you find most objectionable. Maybe we could flush that one out. I mean, you just said like 10.
I find all of them objectionable. I don't think you need to follow a book to live your life.
At some point, it might be we start talking about like what exactly makes the new independent fundamental Baptist like the cult that it is, or like the hate group that it is, or
there's really
what makes it dangerous, all that kind of stuff.
There's only one answer to that, AR, and his name is motherfucking Steven Anderson.
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, like he's the guy on top, and he's the one that started the whole thing in Christmas Day 2005. But
no, you're right, because it's deeper than that. Because there was the old NIFB, and then there was the Southern Baptist, and then there was the I mean, there has been this element of Christianity since the very beginning of Christianity that wants to kill the rest of the world. Period. And that's why we stand against them, and that's why I don't stand against people like Ocean Keltoy, because he doesn't advocate for killing the rest of the fucking world.
No, as a matter of fact, if anything, Ocean says, "Hey, let's go grab a beer."
Yeah, and he'll bash Christians harder than any other fucking atheist will.
Now, don't get me wrong, there are pagan sects that are bad, but like,
I point out one often, and I don't feel bad pointing out his name. Von Helton can go fuck himself.
thinks he's like 250 years old. I think it's the funniest shit.
And he's a vampire, and he started every conspiracy theory ever.
God.
Oh
I was
my God.
talking more about Focus.
The Focus. Yeah.
That's what they're called, but
Focus.
like they're extremely racist, and often they like what's
So-
it called?
So the
They
Focus,
might even just be LARPing paganism just so that they can be Nazis.
so Focus, what they are is they're just a group of pagans that believe in pretty much. They're the white nationalists of pagans, really.
Yeah.
They believe that that paganry should be specific to a certain group of people, and this group of people happen to be white, and they happen to be pretty much from the area from the area that the paganry started. Like, for instance, pretty much Scandinavian countries, things like that. They're a horrible group of people, and they are they're just shit. That's the best way to describe them. They're just shit.
Every religion
Yeah.
has.
Yeah, every
That-
religion has it. I mean, atheists. Like I did a crazy cults. God, I can't never remember their name, but a segment of atheism that became atheist basically because they thought Jesus was too loving, and the Bible was too loving, and they were like, "Fuck that God. We want to be evil white supremacists and go kill black people."
Oh God.
Well, then you have
They
people
told us
like
to become Mormons.
KKK majority like Christians, and they used the Bible to justify what they were fucking doing. You know, the whole.
Oh, the Ku Klux. Listen, I grew up with them. The Ku Klux
Me
Klan
too.
is very much a very good Christian organization. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah, and in the deep South, if you're KKK, you're a good Christian.
yeah.
Still
I
think
grew up
the
in
answer
Texas.
up from that, but that's just me.
You know what I really
I
love? I really fucking love how they tell me that the KKK is left wing. You know, because they started way back in the day and they were Democrats, and I'm like, you ignorant motherfuckers don't understand shit
They
about
were,
American history, do you?
They were Southern Democrats.
Yeah, Southern Democrat. They were Dixiecrats. They were they were the Republican Party that is today.
They forget.
Yeah, see, back in the day, back in those days, the Republicans were the good guys.
Yeah,
And the
yeah.
Democrats wanted to overthrow the tyrannical Republican government who believed in this crazy notion of equality.
For those of y'all who don't know, pretty much the Southern Democrats, Dixiecrats, whatever you want to call them, they were a group of the racist people who pretty much was all for keeping whites themselves and blacks themselves. And they were the type of people that would turn a blind eye if a black man got killed.
Yeah, just for
Like,
reference, you can find one of them in Congress today. He's a Republican. His name is Orrin Hatch.
You could literally have all the documentation you could possibly tell that shows a white cop killing a black man for no reason whatsoever. And back in the day, these were the type of guys that would just turn a blind eye and be like, he must have done something wrong, even if it was Jay fucking walking. So then you have the fact that during this time, oh, go ahead.
I said when you see people film the cops today, you'll still hear people say that in like comments and all that kind of stuff. When you like get a video of police brutality or somebody getting arrested and like beat up for basically no reason. Like,
yeah. So then you have the Republicans at the time that were all for keeping for pretty much community and being the good guys that the government should have been. And what ends up happening is there was some Southern Democrats that were going to vote or going to try to run as Southern Democrats, but these older Southern Democrats who were already in, seats of power or whatnot, had told them, don't run as a Democrat, run as a Republican. You'll have a better chance at getting into power. And so they did. They switched ballots. They switched to Republican, and they did end up getting in office. So more Southern Democrats were switching to Republicans. And that's why now it's the Republicans that are actually more racist than the Democrats.
Yeah,
I always-
and it led to the Southern strategy, which was a racist as fuck strategy that the Republicans don't even really run away from anymore. They try to pretend like they don't do it anymore, but it's still their fucking strategy.
Yeah. So that's just a bit of history for those who didn't know. I mean, I'm sure
Yeah,
there's probably quite a people in the chat that did already know this, but you know, for anyone who is in the chat or anyone who watches this later didn't know, that's what happened.
yeah. Unfortunately, too many people just don't know recent American history.
Yeah, they listen to a little too much Dinesh D'Souza.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, love that guy.
You know, I love it when people are like, I don't understand why black people are so mad because it was so long ago when they were in the fields picking that cotton. And I'm like, you realize that Jim Crow was like late 50s, early 60s shit,
Yeah.
right? You know?
Yeah.
You know, they were lynching black people down in Alabama not too long ago. Not too long ago.
I mean, hell. I mean, let's face it. I live in Texas. Jasper is known that for even in the 90s of dragging black people by a chain from the back of a truck down a dirt road.
I actually remember that.
This is as recent as the fucking 90s.
I love it when Republicans like, we're the party of Lincoln. I'm like, you know, Lincoln be a Democrat, right?
This is one of those times I feel like it might be good to say that since Trump's election in 2016, hate crimes against marginalized groups have quadrupled.
Oh yeah, gone way up.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many pictures I've shared, and you know, I follow Sean King, which makes me an extremist. You know, but you know, I can't tell you how many pictures I have posted since Donald Trump has been elected of houses painted up saying "N-word, go home," with swastikas all over it. You know, I mean, if all you have to do is really be tuned in to what's going on to understand what's going on, and unfortunately, like 38% of the country are just too racist to care.
Not only, and the funny thing is, not only do we have hate crimes against against the minority people going on, we have also a rise in white people who are big Trump supporters that feel so fucking entitled. I just got I was on Twitter yesterday and watched this video of a white woman who, I mean, I'm not going to say she was a Trump supporter. I'm not going to say that she wasn't. I'm just going to say that, judging by her attitude, she definitely seemed that way. Where she had, the cop was giving her a ticket for whatever,
I saw this video.
Violation or whatever, and she refused to sign it. And finally, he's like, "Ma'am, you have to sign this." And she's like, "I don't have to do that at all." And he's like, "All right, well then, step out of the car, please." And she's like, "Why?" He's like, "Because you're under arrest." She's like, "No, I'm not." He's like, "Yes, you are." And she kept saying no. And so she rolled up her window. The cop said, "Ma'am, just get out of the car." She rolls it down and says, "When you want to be reasonable with me, I'll be reasonable with you."
Fucking takes off.
He said, "Ma'am, do not take off. Do not take off." She takes off. And he comes after her. He comes up to the door with his gun drawn, saying, "Get out of the car now!" And she is just still refusing to be under arrest. And so finally, he puts the gun back. He grabs the door handle and sees it's unlocked, opens it up, and he's like, "Get out of the car." She said no. He grabs her and yanks her out of the car and tries to put her hand behind her back to put the handcuffs on, to which she fights him. She also kicks him.
Trying to kick him.
Yeah, she kicks him and forces her hand from behind him. So he grabs his taser and says, "Ma'am, if you do not stop, I will taser you." She says, "No, you won't." He tases her ass. Not once, but fucking twice before she finally gave up.
I shouldn't be.
That is our fucking country, dude. You know, like
I had to laugh because this woman felt so entitled that whatever violation she did, she felt that she was above the law in that case, and that the law did not apply to her, that she does not have to do what a cop says.
well, and yeah, I agree, and at the but there are plenty of instances where police are abusing their power. I think we need to have a conversation about what kind of country we want to really live in. Do we want to live in a military state, or do we want to live in a democracy? And that question is going to have to come, especially when the marginalized are being abused. And not just African Americans, not just Mexicans on the southern border, trans people, gay people still.
Before you continue, Visual Vintage wants to say that it was a busted tail light, which is why she was getting the ticket.
And some people are just fucking idiots. Like Steven Anderson. Like I had a really hard time watching that video. And I had compassion for Steven Anderson. I had compassion for him at the same time, but I'm like, you're a fucking idiot. And yeah, sometimes you just got to know when to, hey, roll your fucking window down, give him your ID, and stop being a motherfucking sovereign citizen.
Yeah, those sovereign citizens are the best.
Yeah, I will say that there are some people who I'm okay with. I'm okay with the people who do the law checking. Like whenever, like they're completely compliant with everything they're doing. They roll down their window, they give IDs and whatnot, but what they do is they pretty much educate even cops on the law. And they'll sit there and bring up each law, and so the cops just kind of like, oh wow, I didn't really realize that. And those people are okay because they know.
I agree.
When to stop. Then you have sovereign citizens who don't know when to stop.
Well, yeah, and they're idiots because we need law. I'm not saying that we don't need police officers at all. I'm saying we need to have a conversation about police and what kind of country we want to have. I think that we need to go back to the old school type of policing where police are walking the beats, not in their cars. They're not removed. They're not militarized. They're communicating. They're getting to know human beings. I think I think we need that police force again in America. I think Americans should be Americans and have individual freedom. We should be free from a police state, and we should be able to trust our police departments to do the right thing. And right now, there's a conversation that we can't trust all of them. And we also know that Nazis have been trying to infiltrate our police and military for decades. Extremist groups have been trying to infiltrate our police and military for decades. Fundamental Christians have been trying. I mean, we have to have a serious conversation of who we want to be in charge of us, because not all of these fuckers are sane.
Yeah, I mean, police officers are human.
Yeah,
I've kind of rescinded my opinion on this because of the dangers of AI. But for a while, I thought police officers ought to have been robots. But everybody thought I was crazy for saying so. But I mean, there'd be a lot more of a cut down on the weaponless people, unarmed people who are being gunned down if there's no threat to, okay, if you pull out a gun and shoot me, it's just going to bounce off.
I think we should. I think we should make good police officers heroes instead of basketball players and football players. I think we should make bad police officers examples.
Well, the thing is we have the good cops that don't get much airtime because they're pretty much just out there doing their jobs. And let's face it, being a police officer for the majority of the time is not all that terrifying. It's not all that action, and it's not all what we see on the news. That's not what life as a police officer is for the majority of the time. So the good police officers are out there doing their job, which is normally, pretty much patrolling.
Pressing the border.
Do what?
oppressing the poor.
The good officers? No.
Not yeah. The good officers are
I'm
actually.
talking about the good officers.
Yeah, I mean, I
I'm
can
saying
give you
the-
1,000 stories of officers coming to poor communities
Hell.
and helping these people,
Hell.
and I mean, I can give you thousands.
There was-
Like, we should not just focus on the bad; we should focus on the good, because that does take
Yeah.
away from the conversation.
As an example, there was a picture on Facebook that had been going around for years of this one officer. He's a white man. He was bald headed, and he, after every shift, would go into his poor community, and he sat on the stoop with the kids and hung out with them, played basketball in full uniform still. He would play basketball with them. He would be interacting with the youth. And there's the picture that went viral for a while was of him sitting down with a bag of chips in his hand while he had his other hand in his mouth putting the chip in, with the young poor kid in between his legs, just sitting there as if he's protecting this child from whatever. And this is this guy's daily routine. This wasn't just something that he said, "Oh, I'm going to take a picture to, get, thousands of people to like my picture," or whatever. This was something that he normally did on a daily basis. And there are good cops. There are cops that go out there that are not out there to solely be oppressive to people. Then there are cops that are. And these cops more than likely get the limelight because they're doing something wrong. They're doing something wrong and it's going viral because these are supposed to be the men who are there to serve and protect us. So we see a lot of media coverage of the bad cops because the good cops on a daily basis are out there actually doing their job and actually are serving and protecting the citizens that they swore to serve and protect. So that's the issue with trying to
It's also a
you
lot
make
of
good
bad
cops.
that get public either, like when
Do
they
what?
use homeless people for just sleeping somewhere that isn't occupied, or when they violently remove people from houses or apartment buildings through evictions because people can't afford to pay the rent anymore because it's skyrocketed to such insane amounts now, to the point where people are spending like upwards of 70% of their entire income on rent and can't afford to eat if they don't pay their rent. Like,
all right, I'm gonna
there's
play
so
moderator. I don't want
many
to
things
interrupt, but CK and Richard, both of y'all have been very quiet, so please feel free to come in and
Yeah.
add some input.
Yeah, I'll start talking about how capitalism leads to all this, and then that's going to be an irrelevant conversation.
As I put in the chat, I'm no moderator, so yeah, NIFB started the topic, but my moderator bailed, and I suck at moderating. I've said this for almost a year now. This is not news to my audience. But they're saying it's still a good stream, so keep going. Don't let me interrupt. But if you guys want to jump in, please.
People have heard what I've had to say. Let's let Richard have the floor.
I don't talk politics or society or those sorts of things. I just don't have time to become educated enough to speak intelligently about those things.
Yeah, I will say Pirate Kitty makes a terrific point in the chat where she says it's not the police officer's fault that they are the ones that have to deliver the eviction.
It's political violence.
Well, no,
Yeah.
yeah. So I totally agree actually with that, because the police officers are doing what the law makes them do in those situations. So it's not the police officer's fault that
The
they
law
have.
makes bad cops then.
Well, no, it's the system. We have to fundamentally change this system here in America.
Yeah.
And
That's kind of what I was getting at.
yeah, it is the system. And thank you so much, UFO Talks. $5 super chat. I'm an atheist. Apatheist. All right. So yeah, I can't read, but I don't believe that secular humanism is going to work. It seems that civilization and barbarism are just parts of human nature. That is a great.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Great conundrum fuck of a statement.
It is because it makes you wonder whether racism, whether any of these nasty bits of human nature are ever going to go away. You know,
Which, to be honest, I don't think will, because as long as the human race has been a thing, there's always been someone who doesn't like someone because of whatever reason.
I have
And-
to fundamentally disagree 100%, 1000%, 100,000%. You see, human beings have been evolving, and we have come so far in the last 200 years. If you could just look at history in the way that I have, I guarantee you could not but see it. And if you we live such short lives, so we can only really perceive things until we die. It is really hard for human beings to truly look into the future, but I guarantee you, if you look into the future 150 years, shit is going to be a lot different unless climate change kills us all.
Oh no, I'm not saying that we aren't better than what we have been. I'm just saying that with the fact that we still have people who are in positions, like for instance, you have two children.
We are just
One
barely
child-
out of our bloody past, frustrated. I'll let you speak. I'm just saying, we are just barely out of our bloody past, and we have come so far. And it is terrible and atrocious, but I see hope for humanity. What I don't see hope for is solving climate change.
But so, like I was saying, you have two people. You have two children. One is grown up in a household that is told to always love everyone around you, always be helpful. And these people, that kid grows up in that type of climate. Whereas you have someone who's grown up in a household where they're told, you are not supposed to like black people. The reason why they're teaching their child that is because their parents taught them that, because their parents taught their parents that, and so on and so forth down the line.
Sometimes for thousands of years.
I
Yes,
suppose education does
And-
wonder to counteract that sort of like
it
parental.
does, but in the majority of the cases,
Yeah.
I'm
Doesn't
not
really
going to.
help that redlining has led to segregation of schools even today.
Yeah. And so with these types of horrible ideas keep getting passed down to the generations. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, there are some people who do break free of that. There are some people who I've known that were fully on, who would have been KKK members, but then when they got to be adults later on in life, they broke free of that, of their racism, and they broke free of all of that stuff and said, I saw how I used to be, and I am disgusted with myself for that. But now I am doing better than that. And there are some people who are like that. But for the majority of the cases, you're not going to see someone who has grown up all around people who are racist become not racist. So if you're growing up in that type of environment, that environment is still going to thrive. We still have racists today because of racists of the past. And it's probably going to continue.
I predicted, and I still stand by it. Maybe 3 years ago now on my political channel, maybe 2, that we are going to see a civil war in this country, and we're going to see it because racial divides have never been dealt with. Freedom of slaves was a afterthought, not a reason. We had Jim Crow right up until the 60s. We have pushed black people and brown people into ghettos and given them worse education than we have given white people. This is statistically true for the last, 40, 50 years.
Everybody realizes.
I will have to disagree with one thing that you said, though, is you said that we've never seen a push. That was the whole entire Black Panther movement, was a push, which is what got us to kind of be more accepting in some cases, but it had to get to the point
I would
to
I would
where-
actually argue that Tupac Shakur did a lot more when it came to advocating black people to white people than the Black Panthers did. Still to this day,
Well,
the
of
Black
course.
Panthers are held up as a racist organization. And who was it that was the downfall of the Black Panthers but the NRA, which is supposed to stand for gun rights, but until black people got them, and then they were like, oh, black people can't have guns. Holy shit, the Black Panthers are terrorists.
They did a lot to like curb the spread of like white supremacist fascism when they were around.
I will give the Black Panthers credit for producing Tupac Shakur. I will do that.
The Black Panthers did do a lot of good in certain aspects.
I'm telling you, as a white dude, I listen to
Protection
Tupac.
when, like,
Tupac
Fucking
flipped me,
fascists would
dude.
march down black neighborhoods. To
Tupac
tell,
Shakur. I'm gonna say a word now, but I'm gonna say it as a title of an album. Tupac Shakur, Strictly for My Niggas, is what caused me to tear that rebel flag down from my wall. It is what I fell in love with that poetry, and it only got better right up until the day he died. And he reached more white people than any black person ever in the history of the world. I will stand by that argument until the day I die.
some game words were said, guys, but just remember he was quoting.
Yes, he was just
Yeah.
quoting the title.
Yeah, I was
No,
quoting
Tupac-
the title.
Tupac was
And I will quote that title to the end of my days because it was a brilliant record. Papa's song, oh my, that song got me through some shit with my dad. I'm just gonna say it.
It sounds like he took like notes from like the punk rock movement of like the 70s and 80s because they did a lot to like spread awareness of like
Well,
Real quick, UFO talk, another $5 super chat. I think people conflate advances in technology and science with advances in ethics and politics. Marxism, Leninism, God,
OG
I can't
hip
speak tonight,
hop is
was an
funk as fuck.
enlightenment project. I think I agree. I think communism was like an ideal.
Well, I gotta say that a lot of the 80s to 90s rap opened eyes for a lot of people. Hell, you have the NWA with their songs, where when people are sitting there like, you know, these song lyrics, you know, what do you say to people who say that this is enticing violence? And all Ice Cube said was, we're not enticing anything. We're just letting y'all know what we see on a daily basis. We're letting you know what we witness.
Yeah.
Citizens of LA.
Ashley
Yeah,
Couch
dude. I mean,
might be
it changed. Tupac changed my life, and Bone,
When
Thugs
it
and
comes to
Harmony.
when it comes to
they're
cops
punk as fuck.
harassing black people, and it opened up a lot of people's eyes. They were, you know, a lot of people were like, "Holy fuck, what the hell?" Whenever these types of things
All
were
right,
being
guys.
sung about,
Oh, go ahead.
and
Go ahead.
I
Russ.
really miss that rap. I'm as much as I love Eminem, I miss like the NWA and Ice Cube days, because those were songs that were really impactful, because these were songs that were where young black men of the streets said what they saw, and it had impact on a lot of people.
Yeah.
A lot of people had said, wow, this is not right. This is what these people are seeing, and nothing's really getting done about it. And to me, that's just amazing.
Yeah, and I would put the movie Boys in the Hood right up there with Tupac and NWA and all of that. Boys in the Hood. I remember going and watching it in the theaters, and it fundamentally changed me. I mean, I felt compassion for people that were no longer like me. John Carpenter passed away a couple years ago. He was a brilliant filmmaker, and he did a lot for this country. Like, we have advanced because of that movie.
Oh.
A moment of silence for John Carpenter.
I'm getting Aaliyah Kai the link right now.
I sent it to her on Twitter. I'm sorry, Ali. I did send you the invite on Twitter. Yes, and
He's
we are
here.
going to have a moderator, people, because I suck.
We,
Oh, fine.
Yeah, Allie's
jumped
here.
way off topic too.
You guys,
There's Allie.
can you guys actually hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Yes,
Yeah, I can
You're
hear
a little
you.
yes,
low.
we can hear
You
you.
can turn yourself up somehow. That'd be awesome.
Give me a sec. All right, there we go. Now I can actually get my audio working. Give me a sec because I can't hear you. I'm not sure why that is.
It's because I don't understand Zoom.
it's
I'm gonna mute
complicated.
myself real quick, and I'm
It's
gonna
not Google Hangouts.
Yeah.
Sorry, my
Right.
headphones went out for a minute. Y'all hear anything of what I said?
Nope.
No,
Oh,
yeah, our moderator came in because my moderator bailed. I don't know what happened to Wujita. Wujita's
Come on,
got some
Wujita.
answers to come in on Discord.
But
You read
I
everything. Stop clapping them cheeks.
so what I was saying was I really enjoyed the music of the NWA NWA and Ice Cube whenever he went solo, because these were songs that were written by black men who were just telling people what they saw in their daily lives on the street, and it was impactful. I'm not gonna say it got a whole hell of a lot of people, but it got quite a few people to open their eyes to be like, holy shit, this is what's happening and nothing's getting done about it. And it really did a lot of impact, and I really miss those days.
Yeah,
That day of rap.
the first song that I remember, and I could fucking rap it word for word right now.
Don't use gamer words. It might look bad.
It's Tupac's "Keep Your Head Up." That
I was just
song,
going to bring that song. Up. That's one of my favorites of all time. It's just a
Yeah.
beautiful, brilliant tune.
that song changed my life. I could rap it right now, but yeah, I'd totally probably get flagged as a racist for saying the N word a lot, so I'm not gonna do it. but I think that's a perfect conversation in the future.
It really wasn't even so much prevalent in that song. It's just we'll get a race of babies that'll make the babies and hate the ladies.
Oh, dude, there's so many good words in that song. The rap music of old school, and not just Tupac, but Biggie Smalls and Public Enemy, Bell Biv DeVoe, right? They were poetry. Even Slick Rick. Slick Rick's poetry was X-rated, but it was poetry, and today it's just it's mumble rap, dude. It's bullshit.
If it's making social commentary or speaking on government ills, it's basically punk rock, but like a different form of it.
Lil Dicky's pretty good.
I don't understand none of the shit. Like, I still listen to all my old school peeps. T.I., where you at?
I love listening to Lil Dicky's Freaky Friday.
Oh yeah, or Pillow Talk.
If I listen to new rap music, it's like underground music. Like the hottest shit popping is Immortal
Knock.
Technique, motherfucking Jelly Roll,
Knock.
Struggle.
Knock. Do yourself a favor and look up Lil Dicky.
Oh, he doesn't know Lil Dicky? Oh man.
Yeah, I have no idea who that
Hey,
is.
Okay.
Can you guys
Yes.
hear me now? Because I
Yes,
actually,
we can
I'm
hear
pretty
you.
sure I fixed it.
Oh yeah,
Yes, we can hear
you're
you.
loud and clear, Ali.
All right, sweet.
Welcome, Mod. We have moderation.
But knock.
Firefox decided to dong over Zoom the first time I launched it. So I had to go fix that in the permissions.
But knock. Do yourself a favor and look up Lil Dicky. He's a rapper who does a lot of funny shit. Like his song "Freaky Friday" is about him switching bodies with Chris Brown, and there's
Pillow Talking. Pillow
it's
Talking, Lil Dicky.
yeah, Pillow Talk is pretty good. But it's so funny. Like there's one part where he says that like he's Chris Brown singing. And he says he goes, "I look at my soft dick. It's my dream dick." And it's just hilarious because there's one part where he's like, where he says, "Wait, can I say the N-word? Can I really say the N-word?" And then he goes up and just completely says it all the time. He's like, "What up, my N-word? What's up, my N-word?" And it just keeps going on and on and on.
I I probably wouldn't get into it. I'll check it out.
No, look at pillow talking. You'll appreciate that one.
See, I'm a different kind of human being. I'm an old school spoken word poet. You know, I really don't listen to like beat or like fancy jazz. Like I like Eminem and he's good with his words, but like what I listen for is the social commentary. I want a story that moves me. I want it to affect my. I'm a teddy bear. I want it to affect my heart. You know, like I really just want it to touch me deep, or I'm not going to spend time and listen to it.
I'm sorry, I heard
You guys have gone way off the topic of the NIFB at this point.
Oh, God, yeah.
What is the NIFB? I can't remember.
we've already went past that, and we may end up coming back around.
Originally, we were talking about whether or
the
not
topic
it's like,
now is like the universe, I guess.
originally, we were talking about what's it called? Whether or not they qualify as real Christians.
Oh, and I never answered that.
Yeah, I mean, usually
Rusty
if
should.
I'm around as the moderator, I'll be like, everybody do your opening statements. But it seems like this meeting was a little bit haphazard because your guys' mod didn't show up, and it looks like there was only a couple of you to begin with.
Yeah,
we had our opening statements. It's just what's his name?
Well, had
Frustrated didn't do it.
Had Wajita shown up, then I could have really. I think I could have made it work with just AR and CK. But yeah, my moderator didn't show up, so I had to switch roles, and then I suck at moderating. So I was just like, let's talk about everything.
We were doing great for the first like half hour to an hour. We were all on topic. It was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've been listening
Don't get
for
me
most
wrong.
of the time. I was in and out of games and stuff, but then I noticed that there still wasn't a moderator, and I was like, okay, at first I thought he was late, but
Don't
Yeah,
get me wrong.
like-
The conversation was awesome and it was fun.
Yeah, it's been a good conversation. The people in the chat have seemed to enjoy it because I've commented on it a couple times, and they're like, "Oh, it's still a good stream, knock." So, you know, it's been decent. I think we've covered everything.
I'll tell you guys.
But we do have a moderator now, so we can get back on topic. We should do some NIFB hate.
Yeah, I was gonna say frustrated. Are they real Christians?
Well, do they call themselves Christian?
Are they real Christian?
Again, do they call themselves Christian?
Yes, they call themselves
Yeah,
Christians.
Then I'm of the mind that if you, until there's a way to determine whether or not what you're saying is truthful or not, I go by what you identify as. If I'm not going to, I'm going to identify them as a Christian until I have actual proof otherwise, that they don't believe this stuff. Like, sure, there are probably some that might not, but for whatever reason, just continue on being this way because they don't want to be outcasted by their group of people. But until proven otherwise, if they identify as Christian, I will say that they are true Christians because that's just the way I roll.
Yeah. So for the most part, we're all in agreement.
Yeah, I think I'm even in agreement with that. Like the way I formed the question was kind of ironically because it's the NIFB pointing the finger at everybody else saying they're not real Christians.
Yeah,
so
they
it was
do
kind of a joke
battle.
topic.
well, and
Yes,
I
well-
think it's an interesting discussion overall because I think to a certain degree, most of the major Christian sects, to one degree or another, claim the other Christian sects are not actually Christian. Like
Well, yeah.
I would say, Catholics, JWs, and Mormons are probably the strongest contenders as far as those accusations are concerned. But the NIFB is right there.
Yeah, and Aaron
Exactly.
Bitten just in
Exactly.
chat asked, "What is a real Christian?" And I was like, "Aaron, come on, and we'll talk about not tonight, of course, Aaron, but a future topic, for a future show." And Aaron Bitten is welcome to come on and give his perspectives of what a true Christian is. But yeah, that'll be a future shows. That would be another topic, and maybe my moderator will show up that night, and we can stay on topic.
Hey, I've never bailed on your butt.
No, you haven't. I'm sure something came up with Wujita. I'm not sure what. Like I said, I have no idea. Like I messaged him on Discord, and I don't know where he's at. He knew about tonight before I went to work, so I don't know.
Did you have any other questions? Naka?
Who, me?
Yeah. Were there any other questions on that topic?
Well, I mean, with the NIFB, there's a million questions. All right, so we can talk just NIFB.
I mean, I think that's an entertaining thing, and that's a lot closer to topic than what we were talking about a moment ago.
Yeah. Is the NIFB, is their stance on child bearing correct? Is that the Christian stance?
Clover. I mean, quiverful.
Quiver?
I don't know
Yeah,
why I
the
was having
Quiverful movement. Yeah.
trouble with that. Yeah.
I mean, it seems to be the stance of fundamentals, and not so much the greater population of Christianity. But I do see a great
Well, and it's a testament to. I'm sorry to interrupt, but it's a testament to what I was saying in the very beginning, that if you are truly religious, you cannot function in a modern society because you're going to, follow the Bible verse that says, "Blessed is he that hath his quiver full of them. Children are inheritance of the Lord, and the fruit of the womb is his reward." So you're just going to keep pumping out babies, and how are you ever going to make that work? And you're going to abuse those children, no less.
Yeah, they're
So these people,
real child.
I'm going to clarify that, if you are religious within the Abrahamic faiths, because, not all faiths have those sorts of things.
Yeah. The Quiverful is a fundamental Christian movement. So
I should have clarified.
Oh, I'm aware of that. I was just correcting
Yeah.
the statement if you're truly religious, because I'm religious, but I'm not Christian, so I don't abide by those things.
Well, and not all
I'm so
Christians.
used to thinking of religious as inherently Christian,
Yeah, well, and I think that's the bias to most American atheists is because we come from some form of Christianity or another. It is a process.
Well, and I think that's part of why, folks like Ocean and I are there to kind of help pattern interrupt some of that stuff, because I think that a lot of the very aggressive movements from atheists toward people who very well could be allies in breaking down Christian hegemony comes from some of those attitudes. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, and I also think that Christians that go out of their way to build bridges. Again, I'm going to harp upon that Christian vlogger going to be here in 5 days. I made a video that shit on him. I shit on him. I shit on him worse than I ever shit on Girl Defined. And he reached out to me, and he was not, he wasn't mad. He was just like, "Hey, dude, let's talk." So I mean, it was really Christians like that. I think should be held up, and you should talk if they're gonna be like, "Hey, let's talk," fucking talk.
I don't think I've seen that video.
Well, and that's the thing with NIFB is a lot of the conversations that I've seen them initiate with the atheist community have primarily been antagonistic, and like we were talking about last night in our sort of impromptu discussion that happened because of recent events. It feels as though a lot of them prey, especially on things like smaller YouTube channels where they can really, take the piss out of some YouTuber or something that isn't as, ready to debate. And then they post when the person retaliates and, play the victim.
Did we lose CK?
No, I'm here.
Oh, you're still here. All right, cool.
It's not just that. They do this for a reason. It's because they use it to create propaganda for their movement. I mean, that's what they did with Nakasuchi. And
yeah.
They're always looking for another Nakasuchi. That's what Standing for Truth does, actually.
And something we need to...
Go ahead, CK. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Speaking of which, well, before we go on,
for sure.
go ahead.
That's actually what Standing for Truth does now. He doesn't explicitly call himself a new independent fundamental Baptist member, but he's out there finding smaller YouTubers to debate on the concept of evolution. He deliberately seeks out people that may not have a lot of knowledge on the subject so that he could make these debate videos with them. And then
you know what? He's another what's his name?
Those will end up getting shared around and used to basically indoctrinate the children in the movement.
He tried to do it with me, and I just cussed his ass out. It was brutal. My SFT, he literally contacted me 6 months before I ever started streaming, ever, and wanted. Sorry,
my mic was off. You guys know the Change My Mind guy, Steven Crowder. That's who he's become. He's taking these. He's only showing the bits of footage of people who don't know what they're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he does that too, but he's not an NIFB to my knowledge.
It's a great strategy for the cause.
Also,
Not
to
saying-
bring up another person on the other side of that same coin, I don't know if any of you guys are familiar with Anthony Magnabosco. He is about street epistemology. So when we're having these debates, we need to remember to keep it civil and actually make people think about their position.
Yeah, and that's been my problem up till now. That's why I'm changing direction, rebranding, because I mean I was fucking toxic. I was toxic. There's no doubt about it. And I've got a lot of content coming in the future. I'm not even gonna give it away because tomorrow when I do this special stream, we're gonna see how y'all motherfuckers react.
Naka, is it on the topic from the other night, or is it on something else?
Tomorrow is going to be the bomb show. It's going to be how can I say it without giving it away?
Okay, is it the thing that we talked about in the group chat last night?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Okay. But I wanted to add, by the way, to CK, we talked extensively about that in the Do Atheists Hate God stream that I moderated. Like, we talked extensively about the way that sort of that accusation, which I get the Satan worshiper accusation a lot more often than I get the hate God one, though I do get the you just want to sin because I'm polyamorous. And like the way that you respond to that and the way that your interlocutor responds back to you can determine whether that turns into a conversation or whether it turns into a fight. And I think
absolutely.
a lot of Christians are expecting a fight, and if you turn it into a conversation, you can blindside.
They want to. They want to fight. Exactly. They want to fight. And I mean, as far as to answer that question, well, I don't want to get off topic. So.
Well, I think that is within topic. If we're talking about like stoking dialogue and stuff, and we're talking about
all I was going to say was the because I'm always trying to debunk this sort of nonsense. Would I hate first of all, you have to. I mean, they would say this themselves. How can you hate someone if they don't exist? That's that brilliant quote from that God's Not Dead movie.
I think it's the most boring.
How can you hate someone?
You're going to challenge my ass.
Everything from me.
Like, if you're going to challenge my ass, like, be a little bit creative. I'm not going to lie.
But I mean, it's how can you hate someone if they don't exist? But if I'll play the game. Would I hate the Christian God? I would spit right in his busted face. Or the Muslim. I mean, they're essentially the same God, or the Muslim God, or maybe most gods.
They are.
Yeah, exactly. They are. I mean, they're just called by a different name. Yahweh versus Allah.
Allah just means God.
Yeah. And that was, I was never taught that growing up. That was a very telling moment for me when I saw for the very first time. I'll never forget that it was translated. Allah was translated into God. And they're the same barbaric God that came from the same barbaric people from the same time period, the same area. So.
Well, wasn't it like almost? Was it like 800 to like 1200 years later? I might have my. I thought like Islam started for like another like close to.
Well, they both came from. I mean, I shouldn't say they started at the exact same time period, but they both came from Judaism, and it was more or less the same time period.
Islam started. Muhammad, I think, around 620 AD.
Okay.
I think it was right around then that Muhammad created Islam.
I really don't want to pick on you, CK, but like barbaric people, be a little careful.
Well, I mean, if you advocate for, I'd be happy to go down the list. I mean, it's.
Oh, trust me, I'm just as familiar with the Bible as you are, but like, you have to be a little bit careful with that kind of stuff in the modern day. Like, a lot of people dunk on the Jews. It can be kind of.
Well, I mean, yeah, and they it makes me. I mean, it makes sense in a way that they would do that, but it makes me sick that they would.
Judaism to me is a mystery. It's something I just don't quite understand fully. It's something that I do plan on researching because it's not what I thought it was, but I'm not sure what it is. So
what do you mean?
Like when it comes to the religion, like I thought Judaism was Christianity without Christ, and it's not. And I've never been around Jewish people enough to understand otherwise.
No, so you do have a sect of Jewish people who do believe Christ as being God's son and whatnot, but then you have other Jewish sects that are really orthodox and in their belief that that Jesus wasn't necessarily God's son, but he was an important figure. And so it just depends on the sect. It's kind of like Christianity with its multiple sects, except for this one aspect they're not quite certain on. You have sects that accept it, and you have sects that don't. And so
Also,
it's just
it's like Islam calls him a prophet.
I do want to point out that there is a sect of Judaism called, for whatever reason, Torah Supremacy. I know J-Dubs has been featuring somebody named James Lauricia on his channel who identifies as such. And I've got him on multiple streams now saying that anybody who doesn't believe in the Torah needs to be eradicated.
Yeah, I plan on hitting J-Dubs fairly soon.
Yeah, so you have a lot of people who, you have a lot of different sects of Judaism that have different core beliefs, and that just so happens to be one, unfortunately. Lucifer Almighty said J-Dubs is a troll.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
in
definitely.
some area.
But at the same time, he's also a racist fuck.
Yeah, and that can be proven historically. I got an interview I'll show you later.
All right, so I made a stream.
We want to be at least a little bit careful about just like going off on people in the stream a little bit.
I know. I'm just saying, like J-Dubs, like literally, I made a stream and I called him out for using the racial slur in Yiddish, and we had a big debate about it. And he was like, "I'm not a racist. I'm not a racist." And then I made my Native American stream, and he came into my comments and he said, comment after comment, racist shit. So J-Dubs, I'm coming for you, dog. I'm coming, and I know you're watching me.
I don't even know who
for
this
you.
person is.
I think we're talking about Jared Whittaker, aren't we?
No, we're J-Dubs, Will Kincaid's friend. Our favorite person, Will Kincaid.
He's
I know who you're talking about.
Been trying to rebrand himself because of like his history here on YouTube. He used to go by J-Dubs, but now he goes by John Gishla. And in the past, he's known for saying that
I know him under the latter name. I hear him referred to as J-Dubs a lot, but I know him under the latter name.
Definitely won't be a David Duke ass kissing video. It's probably. I really think I love what's going to happen tomorrow. I'm just going to say that the chat is interested.
I'll just say that he said some extremely racist shit in the past.
Well, I had to ask because the only J-Dubs I've come across is one that looks like he does video games.
Oh, all right. So
and the other one,
frustrated.
The other one is Djibouti Dubs.
What you want to do is go to Will Kincaid's channel and watch his stupid podcast, and you'll get real familiar.
Yeah, that already sounds like something I don't want to do.
You'll be like bashing your head into the fucking wall.
This is going to be the last comment I make as far as commentating on the drama and stuff.
Well, we do, and we do need to wrap it up, Ali, because it's been going for 2 hours now, and if I don't go to sleep soon, I'm never gonna go to sleep.
Sleep is for the weak.
Yeah. You'll sleep when you're dead.
The worst conversation I've ever had about the NIFB tonight, but a good conversation nonetheless.
It was fun, even if it was a little derailed.
I think that coming back to the NIFB, I think one of the most important things as far as a church being a church, given the way the tax exempt status here works in the United States, is helping the local community. And from everything I've read or heard about them, they don't. So that's one of the big things I think is a concern with them as well. In addition to all the homophobic shit and all the crazy stuff that they do, like at the very, very least, their tax exempt status isn't a thing if they don't help their community out. And from what I can tell, they don't.
Because that's the idea is churches are supposed to provide a public good based upon their tax exempt status, and how much good are they really doing? And we spend, I think Americans spend something like, as of a few years ago, in fact, we spend about $20 billion to subsidize religion, which is a problem.
Yeah. I think we need to have a serious conversation about tax exemption status, and I don't think any church in America should have it.
Well, and I mean, like churches can practically snap their fingers; they're part of a larger organization and get it, like the NIFB did, versus organizations like Millennium, which we actually do help people out. There's a lot of different programs that we run for some of our local communities. We have to fight tooth and nail, and even then, we barely even got nonprofit status under education. We weren't able to get tax exempt status with local institutions.
Well, I mean, if you also look, you can look at freaking Scientology, how long it took them to get tax exempt status.
Welcome, Derek Raw, to the Raging Atheist. Tune in tomorrow. Big news. Lucifer wants me to tell you, CK, hello.
Yes, Lucifer, love you to death. Hello, how are you?
Yes, Lucifer is a goddess on my channel. And so is Ali. So is Ali, and so is Witch. And I am surrounded by goddesses, and I feel so blessed.
Yes. Queens.
But only Lucifer has like the title mod god. Just gonna throw that out there.
Yeah, she's
universal across channels.
Lucifer is she is such a good person. And she's like right on the same page, and she takes charge. So does Ali. That's what I like best about Lucifer and Ali. They take charge. Ali was in the live chat, and she's like, "Holy shit, Nakasuchi cannot mod for nothing. I'm gonna come in for the last 40 minutes, and I'm gonna try at least."
That's pretty much that's you got me. You got me, Naka.
I admit it.
I'm just like, this is like, y'all are talking about rappers. Where the fuck did this go?
So what do we think would be a good ending to this? Do we think, should we give a message, each of us give a message to the NIFB, or what we would want the public to know about the NIFB?
Yes, I think that would be great. Real quick before you go, Ali, I will start doing super chats. That's another thing I haven't announced at the end of the streams, but tonight I've been reading them as we go because I did not have a moderator, so I couldn't take note of my super chats. UFO Talk $2. The NIFB does pay taxes.
I don't think that's true.
Think they do. I think that they charge their congregations for taxes they don't pay.
Well, they have a very strict tithing, and they keep financial records of every single one of their church members. Pretty hardcore. It's insane. It's financial exploitation at its like finest. And the tithing practices go a lot deeper than just like pay 10% of your gross income. It's also 10% on like birthday gifts.
As if that wasn't enough. 10% of gross, not fixed, gross income goes right to the church.
If somebody gives you a car for your birthday, you have to pay 10% of that. If they take you out to eat, you have to pay 10% of that. If they are shipping you out for a, what do they call them? Soul winning marathon, you have to pay 10% of the expenses. Any gain whatsoever, doesn't matter what it is, you have to pay 10% of that, even if people buy you groceries.
Yeah, and it is a good idea. We will end out with everybody's last closing thoughts on the NIFB, and then I will once again talk about how I'm taking wrenches away and starting over, because I don't want anybody to feel like it's anything personal. I think starting from scratch, although tonight has been a little better, not so many. It started off all blue, but tonight's been better. But just to start over, and no offense to anybody, I love you all, but we're bringing moderation. But yeah, let's close it out with final thoughts, and I don't even have to say it because I just said it again. Yeah, I'm going to be taking wrenches away, and we're going to start over, and it's going to be very, very, it's going to be controlled, and we're going to live by the rules I started with, and I'm going to be starting with it every night for like 3 months. So we're going to get used to this shite. Go ahead.
If you want me to come in to help go over the rules like tomorrow, let me know what time it is, and if it's not too early when you're doing your bombshell stream, I'd love to come on and like help you out with that. Also, as far as closing thoughts and things, everybody, since some of you came in later, even though you're not new to the channel, it'd still be great to have everybody make sure that they plug their channel, introduce yourselves and such. I would say final thoughts on the NIFB being a Christian organization or not, and, you know, one message that you'd like to send them, because I think that that's a fun idea. I'll go last as usual. So from left to right on my screen, AR, you're first.
Sweet. So, well, like I said at the very beginning of the stream, I believe that anybody who identifies as a Christian or follows Jesus Christ in any way, whether or not you think he's a fictional character or whether or not you take the mythicist position, I mean, I don't, I, I don't think he performed miracles or anything like that if he existed. But that's besides the point. If you identify as a Christian or if you follow Jesus, you're a Christian. It's as simple as that. The NIFB just happens to be one of the most vitriolic and hateful Christian organizations that exist in today's society. As far as messages to the NIFB, well, just wait for Mr. Atheist to do something, because we're still coming for you, and nothing's changed. We may have taken a little break. We're focusing on our own channels and our own content, but nothing's changed.
Nothing's
Also,
changed.
it looks like the Independent Fundamental Baptists have been incorporated as a 501c3 since 1991.
Ooh, it's a while.
Yep, so they're tax exempt. All right, second
Again,
one.
we're coming for you.
I think AR put it quite well. Yeah, like you called the wrong motherfucker the Pumpkin King. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
All right, CK, your turn.
I'm up next? Okay. Well, I'll reiterate what I said in the beginning, essentially. Much as I hate to continue being a broken record, but I call it a broken record. I'm CK Blackwood. Again, much love to you all. I appreciate this discussion. I appreciate all discussions of this sort. You can find me on YouTube at CK Blackwood, C full stop, K full stop, Blackwood. Full stop is a period. I'm a musician and an atheist activist. I've been doing it for a long time. And I suppose my message to the public, where the broken record part comes in, about the NIFB, only because they're still alive and at least somewhat functioning in modern society. No, in a sense, they aren't true Christians. But yes, in a sense, they also are, because they actually are following the parts of the Bible that you love to ignore. So remember that. And to the NIFB people who belong to it, grow the fuck up and talk to people. Actually realize what you are doing. And if you ever escape, we'll be here for you.
Oh, I didn't plug my channel. I just wanted to say I'm the Atheist Rationale. Check me out. I do live streams tackling
definitely check him out.
Religious fundamentalism, and I'm going to be tackling the far right soon. So yeah, you'll definitely want to watch me.
You better drag me on for at least one of those streams.
Oh, you know.
Yeah, and AR, anytime you want me to come on, I'll definitely, if I'm available, I'll come on.
Name your favorite reactionary. We'll do a stream together.
Oh, good gods. Favorite? I have to pick a favorite. All right, Frustrated Atheist, you're up next because Naka gets to go last.
Okay. Well, I'm Frustrated Atheist. I don't do anything on my channel anymore because, well, I don't want to right now. You can check it out if you like. It's Frustrated Atheist. That's it. As far as I said, like I said earlier, they identify as Christians, so they're Christians. As far as the message for them, the only thing I have to say to y'all is go fuck yourselves.
Well
That's
said.
Succinct.
Very
All right.
well said.
Richard Madsen, second time we've run into each other. Your turn.
How you doing, lady? I got a playlist under the same name. I'm a weirdo when it comes to Christianity. I call myself a Christian, but I mean, I take a strict reading of the text, and that does not include what a lot of Christians say it includes.
For
But anyway.
for what it's worth, in our last stream, we identified Richard as being a polytheist who happens to see Yahweh as his patron god.
Yeah, that's fair. That's pretty fair. Thank you. As for the NFIB, I mean, I'd like to see them loved through this and helped so they can stop. They're very, very angry. They think that they're following the Christian text. And I understand that the way that most people see it, they are taking a more strict reading. That's actually a less strict reading involving more doctrine. There is exegesis that can show that the text does not have to be looked at that way, that it does not include, despite the popularity of the idea, violence, rape, slavery, etc., etc. So right on down the line. It actually is not talking about that at all. If anyone's really interested in it, if you could pick up Strong's or go online, the most violent used word in the Bible is perhaps slaughter. There's more than 10 definitions for slaughter, the way it's used in the Bible. I'd like to just read you a couple.
Richard, I think we're
clap.
I think we're getting
clap. It could be translated as clap. They use the word slaughter instead of clap. Okay, it does not necessarily mean violence. That's my message to the NIFB.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna go second to last, and I'll hand it back over to Naka. So I'm a Leakai. I'm known in some communities as a Leakai, or Leakai as some of you guys know me as Ashley Couch. That's my author name. I'm actually more from the leftist community. Cirrus brought me over, and I've been slowly infesting the atheist side of things. I actually run the channel Collected You, which is a leftist answer to PragerU. And we do not have our first two videos up because animation is a bottleneck, and we only have 2 animators at the moment. So they're working their butts off to get those first couple out, but we do have the scripts written and recorded. So if y'all want to check out my channel, I'm pretty sure AR has got the link. He usually posts it in chat for me because I tend to be invited at the last minute, so it's not always in the description. But yeah, our first 2 videos are going to be on, one's called Politics is Non-Binary, and it's about the difference between a progressive, a liberal, and a leftist. And we're doing a series on Das Kapital. And the other thing that I'm working on is a series on Christian apologetics for capitalism. So, all right, Naka, it's on you.
Yeah, nobody's links are in the description right now because it was a super busy day, and I totally was like on Discord and trying to figure out Zoom, and we had a moderator meeting. So,
you dicked it.
Yeah, all descriptions will be in the link. All links will be in the description below when I wake up in the morning, and I will be changing the thumbnail and the title because it wasn't really an NIFB stream. So I'm probably gonna title it like Nakasuchi and Friends talk about everything. You know, but yeah. Or we can title it Moderator Doesn't Show.
Moderator doesn't show. This is why we need.
But I do want to thank everybody that showed up. Richard, I find you to be a beautiful human being. I disagree with
you are too, brother.
I disagree with a lot, but at the same time, I just find you fascinating, and I love you, and I am really glad that Frustrated Atheist came on the show again. It's been a while. My friend from the beginning, I met him the first time I ever went on Cirrus's stream, Ali. So, tonight was a good night. It wasn't what I had imagined. I really thought that I'd get AR and CK on and we just bash the NIFB while I had a moderator like guiding me along. That didn't happen.
We can try again.
Yeah, we will do it again. We will. I'm going to be doing these late streams once a week because my work schedule sucks. So yeah, it's gonna happen, and we'll do the NIFB right the next time.
All right, call me next time.
Yeah.
We gotta get her in here, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we'll get Ali or we'll get Lucy or we'll get. I mean, Wujita, you got some explaining to do. That's all I'm saying. You got some explaining to do.
You got some explaining to do.
I mean, like,
we just talked about it earlier, right, Ali? I mean, he knew.
Well, he might have had something come up. Let's not.
It could have been anything.
Let's be nice, guys. Let's be civil. You got to follow our own rules.
I love Wujita. Wujita knows I love Wujita. I'm sure something came up. But okay, so my final thoughts on the NIFB. It's pretty much this. I have future shit coming out about a cupcake.
Y'all crossed the line.
Yep, y'all have crossed the line with me. And it's coming. And the whole point of tonight's stream was to talk mad shit about y'all without telling y'all what's coming. Cupcake. I'm going to be nibbling on some frosting very soon. That's all I'm going to say.
Watch out. He might like that. I'm sorry.
I mean, like,
right, I'm done now. I'm done.
You lick that frosting.
Right now, but like, I don't know.
You lick that frosting as sensually as possible.
You gonna lick that frosting clean? I don't know. Anyway.
So many jokes.
Tongue deep. Put your tongue as deep into that frosting as it'll go.
I
They'll
mean,
love it.
if y'all thought that I went off on Matt Powell before today, y'all ain't seen shit yet. That's all
I mean,
I'm
I'm
gonna
not
say.
going to say that Naka doesn't want to be knee deep in pumpkin guts right about now, but I think he wants to be knee deep.
I think so. We just don't know.
I am going to punk Matt Powell out, and if you don't know what that means, it means I'm gonna make him my bitch.
All right, Naka.
If he isn't already.
Down. Say your goodbyes so we can all go bullshit off in the corner.
Okay. All right. So yeah, I announced big changes. Moderator wise, I ask you guys. Open discourse it's what we're striving for. Moderators are going to allow you to have it. Follow the rules. Be adults. Everything will be all good. Don't be offended if I take wrenches away, because I'm taking everybody's wrenches away, except for what we agreed upon earlier. And if you want to appeal and become a moderator on the channel going forward, it's not on me. This is going to be you're going to have to really show yourself to exhibit what we're looking for, and it's a group decision. I'm not a dictator. I am surrounded by goddesses and what I would kind of call them gods. I am surrounded by really good people right now, and I really love the direction that the channel is going. Tomorrow at 1 Eastern, I'm just going to tell you right now, 1 Eastern, the bombshell's coming. So yeah, any final thoughts from anybody else? And we're gonna end this bitch.
Last thought I got, our rules that we came up with, they're pretty simple. They're pretty standard to, chat in general. The thing's been an anarchist hellscape, and this is coming from somebody who is a certifiable anarchist. So, not in a good way. So I think that this is going to be good for everybody. I think that this means we're going to be able to bring some more theists over who might actually be able to have rational conversations. I think that this is a really good decision. I'm super proud of Naka for taking, the right-hand path, so to speak. I think that this is going to be good for everybody. And I know it's going to be hard adjusting a little bit to a couple of the rules, and getting all the procedures down, but it's going to be for the best. And I'm really looking forward to it. And I'm super grateful to be a part of it. So thank you so much.
Me too. And I'm just so grateful for the people that are helping me do what I've wanted to do for a while. And it's only going to get better. The goal, as I've said all along, is to make our live chat, our discourse, our channel, a place people want to come. So hopefully that will help. And as I've always said, it's fluid. If you have suggestions, we are open to hear them. But we're going to get out of here. I want to thank all my guests tonight. I want to thank Ali for stepping in and doing what I couldn't, which is moderate somewhat. So
I tried.
Yeah, you did it. You did far better than I, and you came into we were literally talking about 90s rap music. So
That's why I came in.
New form of punk rock, I'm telling you.
But the chat enjoyed it. They were like, "No, Naka, it's good, man. You're good." So, but we are gonna get out of here, guys. 3 a.m. where I'm at. I'm up way too late. Why are y'all letting me stay up so late? Have a good night.
It's worth it, man. It's worth it.